Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. I think it's safe to state that XRP adoption has reached escape velocity. We no longer inhabit a universe in which the fate of XRP is in serious doubt. On the other hand, if you are confident that you are buying in a small-cap coin, there's a great deal more doubt now. Is the Pope acting rogue? Does this technology even function? Is there a bug in the program? And eventually, someone will find out I'm a fraud. Is going to be lost? Will answers to those sorts of queries actually be useful? XRP has advanced much beyond that point. That point has long since passed with XRP. The fact that, even after 10 years, not all that much money has been invested in XRP makes the current situation all the more fascinating. So, I'd want to tell you about a topic that came up during an extended discussion between two prominent figures in the crypto community. Their talk lasted an hour and 11 minutes, and I listened to the whole thing this morning. But at that same time, the subject of Ripple and XRP arose. And one of the men who was chatting, Dan Tapeo, he's the man on the right on your screen here, he was describing the network impact that XRP actually possesses. What he means by that, and I'll give you his precise words as we get through the video, is that it's had this runaway success in terms of actual network adoption. And if it were go to zero, it would have already happened. Just wanted to let you know that, barring the improbable, XRP is now the de facto standard for a number of applications. And once something becomes a standard in life generally, it is difficult to displace that standard, especially when we're talking about technology and the way money goes around the world. So, just so we're clear, I have zero experience in the financial sector. Expenses are not something I can help you with. And remember, you should never use anything I say as a reason to buy or sell something. Just a hobbyist here that occasionally posts films to YouTube on various crypto-related topics. Okay, and if you're interested in watching the entire hour and 11 minutes of this discussion, you can find it here. What you need to type is displayed on your screen for your convenience. Raoul Paul's channel, if you will. The burden of proof is on his Rob Paul, a man on the move. And he titled The Dancing Happy Arrow, The Crypto Bull Market Everything Everywhere, Everything at Once. And I like both of these guys a lot. Rob Paul, who has worked in conventional banking his entire life, has recently gone crypto. And I was a Goldman Sachs employee before. And he began researching XRP in 2020, much before the case was filed. I recall that he went public with his situation because he was the target of ridicule from the Bitcoin maximalists, and he has effectively said something to the effect of, "I will not be told what I can talk about or look into." And that immediately stood out to me. And I really appreciated how he stood up to the negative elements in the crypto community. In the end, he did buy some XRP off the porch. And at the time, it was close to $1. I recall him mentioning that moving on to the next step isn't unreasonable. So he's clearly pro-XRP. It's noteworthy that up until this point, Dan Tapeo hadn't done any research on XRP. Still, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and bolster his arguments a little bit because I don't think it's quite so outlandish for someone in his position. However, underneath the seemingly absurd veneer is Dan Tapeo, who manages a crypto-focused investment fund. The 10TE holdings are displayed here. Here is yet another image of her. He is the managing partner, CEO, and CIO, and this particular fund has $1.2 billion in assets under management. And he admitted, to be honest, I haven't put in much time studying XRP. And you could find that rather peculiar in this context. However, that's not the case. That's because the fund he's a part of isn't venture capital and doesn't put its money into cryptocurrencies directly. He seems like a really bright guy, and he even admitted as much in that video I just watched and in other speeches I've heard him give. He had mentioned that many different types of people are exceptionally good at deciphering the underlying technologies of each blockchain and cryptocurrency. That's not the reality he's used to, he says. That is the course of action I am considering. With over $1 billion in assets under management, it's clear there's a need for what he's doing at 10T, a cryptocurrency investment fund. As a result, he has no interest in fledgling companies. A venture capitalist, he is not. He prefers to invest in companies that have been established for a while, considering them to be either mid or large cap. And he's hoping to have, a 5 to 10-fold growth over the next decade, which if you look at price activity for crypto, that can happen in a freaking afternoon. Still, that's another dimension. I'm merely trying to point out that Alex's chosen area of investment isn't free of unique perils. There are those who are interested in putting their money into cryptocurrencies, but there are also those who want to invest in the firms that are developing blockchain and cryptocurrencies so that they may diversify their portfolios further. Therefore, it's not completely out there. This makes perfect sense. Crypto is certainly the most intriguing, yet I understand why this exists. His point is that they are the most well-known and influential businesses, and he expects to see many of them go public in the near future. That much he admitted to. However, he is aware that Bitcoin, ETH, and please XRP are among the older cryptocurrencies that have demonstrated network effects. To me, and others like me, this is blatantly clear. He may not have put in the time to learn why we find XRP appealing, but he has enough common sense to see that the currency has accelerated to the point where it can no longer be stopped. In cryptography, for example, I've seen that capsule used in a few different contexts, but in most cases, the exponential expansion of a network is being discussed. And they're simply pointing out that once that happens, it's not hypothetical anymore. And it doesn't usually just vanish overnight. So, barring a miracle, XRP should have arrived at its destination. That is the overarching argument I am making. That's why I'm going to show you the exact quotation right now. So this is from Dan Tappy. Arrow, does anyone know about his past? He has spent his entire professional life working in conventional finance, therefore yes. But more recently, notably over roughly the last half a decade or so, he must have been into cryptography so much that he designed his own font. He was unable to. He enjoyed it to him. You really should listen to him. Simply said, he is correct. Motivating, indeed. It's like, yes, it's a no-brainer. And to everyone else who isn't participating, you've successfully messed things up this time. That sums up the message nicely. And he does it with great grace and eloquence. But here's a quote from him where he discusses Ripple and XRP. Indeed, he confuses the two. So, I'll just make a note of that, and I'll probably end up not mentioning more than a couple things. While I'm reading this one quote of his, I realize something. I'm going to take that at its value, even if he seems to be confusing the two. That's because he doesn't know any better, and I mean that literally. You could make the case that he ought to, and I wouldn't disagree, but numismatics isn't his forte. You can see he wants everyone to have exposure to the space because of the fund he set up to do just that. This is the message he intends to send. I guess I should have looked into this one, he said to himself. That's good to hear, too, even though I should have known better. Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP are the three cryptocurrencies that have consistently been among the top 10 crypto coins by market cap for their whole history. Thus, he is familiar with Bitcoin whereas ETH is ignorant of XRP. However, only those three coins have ever been among the world's 10 largest by market capitalization. So long. That settles the matter. You can't possibly believe that there will be only 2 or 3 protocols that reach network effect, see quote, can you? It could be argued that way, but I'd rather not argue it right now. However, Ripple, which I still don't really grasp, is reportedly worth $40 billion. So then the value of the firm is $5 to $10 billion. Okay, so pause right there. As I warned you, he is combining the two, but he genuinely doesn't know better, is what it is. It's okay. Lots of them exist. To be honest, I was startled to learn that he hadn't done much in the way of relevant work. However, he has not been exposed to such a reality. He has so been involved in crypto, but from an unconventional perspective. And there are so many various topics that you may look into when it comes to crypto. To top it all off, I trust his intellectual integrity. And he recognizes enough, like he's seen in conversation about it, the world of crypto, to know that there is dispute here. There are so many Bitcoiners that hate XRP because they're intellectually just and dishonest, ideologically cult-like, and just miserable people to engage in conversation with on a daily basis. But, you do realize that other people exist, right? And I believe he has taken a whiff of it, let's say, and then he says, and the remainder of the quotation is as follows, so, and they've been around for 10 years. Normal logic would suggest that ripples have now reached network effect. Few people seem to be raving about Ripple's awesomeness. However, their presence is not new. If it was going to go to zero, it should have gone to zero. How come it still isn't at zero? I have no idea. We haven't put in the time and effort into the company that we should have, but we should. He's not calling it a golden nugget, and he's not attempting to bash XRP, from what I could gather from his disapproval. Again, he's admitting that he hasn't done the study and, by extension, that he doesn't understand why it isn't an implication that it should have started at zero, or whatever, before being the runaway success that it is. He's acknowledging that's the situation. If it has persisted for almost a decade, he reasons, there must be some truth to it. He now realizes he should have investigated it earlier. Yes, he should have investigated it, but I won't criticize him for not doing so. I've said my piece on that. Some folks are going to be rougher on him than me. But I guess I'm just saying to myself that there are a lot of dollars floating about. Not everything that happens in the top 10 cryptos will be brought to my attention. I would admit, however, that among the top 10 cryptos, by market valuation, only 3 have ever been in my knowledge. So, I'm good to go with that. There are always new coins that make their way into the top 10 and make me go, oh, that's a new one. What the hell is that? I've had it happen X times over the last Y years that I've been in crypto, but to not be aware of the only 3 in existence, that was a little more unexpected. But again, I love the intellectual honesty. Therefore, by late 2020, Ron Paul is aware that he has begun the necessary effort. They were making fun of him because of it. Dan Tapper, yo, he gets it, okay, he'll do the heavy lifting here. Even if he doesn't know the rest, he can tell that if it's in the top 10 cryptos by market cap and has been there for more than a decade, there's obviously something to this. I can guess that's a fair assumption to make. That's what I'm saying. Obviously, they're correct. Should you ever question, am I making the right choice? Well, I can't tell you whether or not to put your money into XRP or any other investment vehicle. But in terms of the feasibility, if you ever ask whether or not XRP itself is long-term viable. For what it's worth, I think XRP is just one of the coins that has attained escape velocity, and that it's just about here unless something insane and unexpected happens. I do a lot of it since we either have exposure to it or we don't when it reaches a new all-time high and interest price discovery. Since I might be wrong when it reaches zero, I'm just going to write it down and watch what happens. That's feasible. However, in my opinion, that is not the most likely scenario. So, we shall see what develops. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say. Please like and subscribe my channel. See you later, bye.